What's really happening with Francesco Bagnaia in MotoGP? Francesco Bagnaia's recent performances in MotoGP have been puzzling many fans and experts alike. Yes, he did show some fighting spirit with a strong comeback in the Catalan Grand Prix last Sunday. But the bigger question remains, why is a rider of his caliber starting so far back on the grid in the first place? To put things in perspective, apart from the unusual crash he had in the 2022 Portuguese GP when he hit slick tires on a wet track, Bagnaia's qualifying in Barcelona on Saturday was his worst ever in MotoGP. Even during his rookie year in 2019 with Pramac, he never began a race lower than 18th. This is a drastic shift for a rider who boasts 25 career pole positions. Ducati team boss Davide Tardozzi's disappointed shake of the head as Bagnaia qualified 21st, even behind Honda's test rider Aleix Espargaro, spoke volumes. It was reminiscent of his struggles in Hungary, where he failed to crack the top 20 in Friday's sessions, leaving him stuck far behind his rivals. Despite improving by 0.6 of a second overnight, Bagnaia was still left to start deep in the 7th row. Sprint races have always been Bagnaia's Achilles heel, and finishing 14th in a race where only 18 riders completed the race certainly didn't help his case. But come Sunday, the two-time champion showed flashes of brilliance. He made a strong start, jumping to 12th on the opening lap, and capitalizing on others' mishaps to break into the top 10. Even as his rear tire suffered, he managed to hold his own in intense battles against riders like I Ogura and Luca Marini, eventually securing 7th place, sandwiched right between them. The contrast between his Saturday and Sunday was striking. On Saturday, after only 12 laps, Bagnaia finished 14.4 seconds behind race winner Marc Marquez, losing over a second per lap on average. Meanwhile, in the full 24-lap Grand Prix, he ended just 16 seconds off the leader despite the extra challenge of fighting through the field. Ducati's Gigi D'Aligna later revealed that Bagnaia's bike had been fitted with a new swing arm before the race, which likely contributed to this turnaround. Bagnaia also pointed out that the reduced fuel tank capacity required for sprint races hampers his performance, meaning he naturally does better on Sundays when the bike setup is less compromised. Even with this impressive comeback, it's important to critically look at Bagnaia's overall form. Barcelona was once a fortress for him, where he won 3 consecutive Grands Prix over 2023 and 2024. Yet this year, it was Alex Marquez who took victory, with Marc Marquez also capitalizing on the occasion to claim a 2nd place. A strong result for him on a track where he has struggled previously. Looking at the numbers adds more weight to the concern. Bagnaia's results have steadily declined as the season has progressed. Points scored, Sunday podiums, top 5 Sunday finishes, all rounds 1 through 5, 120 points, 4, rounds 6 through 10, 40. Note, the early points total was boosted by Marc Marquez's crash in Austin. Included are 0 points scored at the rain-affected French and British GPs. Bagnaia has now missed the podium for 4 consecutive rounds, and even his pole position at Brno only yielded a 4th-place finish. Considering he was on the podium for every 2024 race he completed except one, this trend is quite alarming. Pinpointing exactly when Bagnaia began to falter is tricky, but the downturn has clearly intensified since the summer break. His apparent breakthrough at Balaton Park was short-lived, as he seemed out of sync again in Barcelona. In contrast, Marc Marquez made a significant leap forward after the Aragon test and has been nearly unstoppable this season, as crashes have become rare. D'Aligna has described Bagnaia as Ducati's most important rider after Casey Stoner, crediting him as the catalyst for Ducati's recent dominance in MotoGP. While Bagnaia missed out on the 2024 title to Jorge Martin, he still claimed 11 wins out of 20 races, which remains impressive. But this year there's little to celebrate. The reasons behind Bagnaia's slump vary depending on who you ask. Bagnaia himself blames technical difficulties, saying he struggles with braking and corner entry on the bike. Tardozzi, however, admitted that Bagnaia's confidence in the machine is suffering, a natural consequence of his poor results. This creates a vicious cycle. Without confidence, it's difficult to perform at the top level, yet without winning, confidence remains elusive. It's really about the confidence he has in the bike, which is entirely different, Tardozzi told Sky Italy. Mark has been doing well all year, so his confidence builds with every race. But the other two, Bagnaia and Fabio Di Giannantonio, face challenges at the start of the season and are still finding their footing. That especially affects their performance in early sessions. Earlier, Tardozzi emphasized the need for Bagnaia to adapt his riding style to manage the GP25's quirks better. We can support him only so much. He has to help us help him, he said. We need him to focus on overcoming difficulties and remember just how talented he is. Meanwhile, Daligna took a more diplomatic stance, pointing out that the feeling Bagnaia has with this year's GP25 isn't the same as last year's GP24, which may explain the performance gap. It's tough to give a clear explanation, since riders don't always perform as expected, he said. Pecco just doesn't have the same feel he had last year. We're working on it and trust him, and he trusts us. We're doing everything we can to bring back that feeling, maybe even better. Sometimes we humans just don't perform at our best. Bagnaia himself avoided comparing the GP25 to the bike with which he claimed more than half his wins last year. While he probably would have preferred to stick with the GP24, even he acknowledges that the GP25 has more potential, as Marc Marquez's dominance clearly demonstrates. The upcoming test at Misano might be a turning point, but for now, Bagnaia faces a fundamental mismatch between his strengths and the demands of the latest.